Hey guys, I apologize for the strange lighting. The winter sun is rapidly setting and it's probably gonna get dark while I'm talking, so let's not waste any time and get to it. In the previous episode, we talked about how so often we define our identities by the roles we fill and the things we do. And this episode is kind of a piggyback, like an action item off of that concept. So today I want to talk about how it's never too late to make a change in the activities you do or your lifestyle, and just kind of how to get into that. So think of this episode as an action plan for constructing our most dynamic, honest identities. Today, I specifically want to talk about feeling like it's too late to learn something, to make a change, no matter how long you think it will take. I feel like we get an idea about what's realistic for us to do successfully, and a risk-averse voice in our heads tells us that we shouldn't take the risk. And because of that, we start this mental track worrying that something bad could happen or that we would lose in some way by putting ourselves out there. So let's talk about learning something new. And you know, I love the personal examples. So when I was a teenager, I realized that I love to dance and I'm naturally pretty good at it. My mom told me that most serious dancers start really young, like 5, 6 years old, learning ballet. And when she said that, I didn't take it at face value and think, I could start now and catch up quickly. I thought, wow, I must have already missed the boat because I'm years behind these girls that already started. I thought all that at 13 years old. 12 years later, I finally got the courage and signed up for 2 seasons of dance, pre-COVID, obviously. And it took me 12 years to do that, so I was 25. So dance came naturally and I loved it, but obviously I had no formal training. Having a knack for something is really just picking it up quickly. You're never gonna know something that someone would have known if they took a course for it. But the bottom line is, now that I pushed myself, it was very out of my comfort zone, now I feel open to it. I know that I can go for it if I ever want to drop into a dance class. So yes, at 13, when I thought to take dance classes, and I was 8 years behind all the girls who started at 5, I'm sure I would have been clunky, awkward, and developmentally behind for at least 1 year. But imagine, had I started at 13, how incredible I would be at 26 today. So if you want to start a new sport or a new fitness regimen, don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. I admire my boyfriend because he will try anything without complaining. He doesn't even hesitate. Either his comfort zone is the size of the state of Virginia, or he really just has this openness that I'm trying to learn myself and I'm trying to teach you guys. For example, I asked him to come to Pure Barre with me. Without hesitation, he showed up multiple times to perform hours of grueling ballet drills up on his tippy toes in rooms full of women that had been doing it for years. And he did the whole thing with a smile on his face. He didn't complain. I wish I could be more like him in that way, but if you're more like me and you prefer to be safe rather than to take the risk, I want you to try to push past your discomfort and have the experience, whatever it is for you. I think that with practice, we can convince our inner critics that having the courage to try and to show up is enough. And not only is it enough, but it's commendable because in doing so, we're investing in ourselves. We want to learn new skills and we want to grow. So by showing up, we humbly decide to expand what we know or what we do. When I say what we know, think about taking classes. Maybe you've been out of school for a long time. Why should you feel like an imposter for showing up? Why is it weird to be in college or taking classes as an adult that's been working for a long time? Why? Because we love to fit in, but what I'm saying is anytime you do something new, you're gonna be an out group until you're an in group. All those people that fit in, unless they did it in a super traditional fashion, which a lot of people don't, were an imposter at some point. So every person who does anything had to be new to it at some point. Who cares if it's late? And I think a big piece of this has to do with humility, because part of the pressure comes from our own pride, that we just don't want to be bad at something. But I think it's all about framing. So how much easier is it to try something if you say, hey, I'm new to this? And if you need to say it 700 times, just say it. Say, I'm new to this, I'm new to this. If that's the thing you need to keep repeating to yourself, I'm trying, I'm making an effort. But don't say you're bad. How can you be bad at something you don't even know how to do? I used to always think that because I would always tell people, oh, I'm athletic, but I'm a terrible swimmer. And I've never even tried. I don't like it. So I've never tried, so how can I be bad at swimming? What if I want to go try now? I would just be new to it. I wouldn't be a good swimmer, but that's because I'm new, not because I'm bad. Bad means you tried and failed. It doesn't mean you didn't try. So without making an effort, it's really impossible to say you're bad at something. You just really don't even know. So reinforcing that idea, when the inner critic pops up and says, you shouldn't take swimming lessons, everyone who knows how to swim knew how since they were a kid. I need to respond to it with positive affirmations. The same goes for literally anything you want to try to do. You have to remember that the voice in your head isn't destructive, it just wants to keep you safe. So when I say safe, I mean protect you from rejection, protect you from failure, because those things hurt. And you have to distinguish between protecting yourself and sheltering yourself from things that could be awesome and make your life fuller. So that whole feeling of being an imposter, in my opinion, is just a self-preservation tactic, because the safest place we can remain is within our comfort zones, but not much development happens there. We take control when we decide not to allow that voice to limit what we do. Just reply to it by repeating that you believe you can do what you're trying to do. Be like, I believe I can dance. I believe I can dance, while you're flailing around and you're maybe awkward. Honestly, with dancing specifically, just a little tip if that's your thing. The second I stopped thinking I looked dumb, I looked way better, because half of it is confidence. And when you overthink it, you lose a little bit of your attitude and you lose the rhythm sometimes. And if you just throw yourself into something, especially any physical pursuit, half the time you look way better doing it than if you were so retentive and just holding on and trying to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Because it's better to be your whole self, let things go wrong, handle them gracefully, than hold back and always be hung up. And if you want to witness a really live, really timely example, go to my first videos, go to my intro. When I started doing YouTube videos, it was so uncomfortable for me. I was like, what am I doing? Who do I think I am? Why would anyone want to listen to me? This is ridiculous. What if I say something stupid? What if I alienate people? Like, I had all of these thoughts because the voice in my head was telling me that this isn't something I've done before. There's a high chance of failure. There's a high chance I'm just wasting my time. There's a chance people won't like it. But I wanted to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so if nothing comes from it, it's something that is meaningful to me. I like sharing ideas. I like teaching. I just thought, why not? And I had to push past that voice so many times, and I needed support from my boyfriend as well to be able to force myself to do it, because I was like, I'll only do it if you help me film it. And then I was so awkward, and then I was uncomfortable, and the awkwardness it's fear that something's gonna go wrong. And the bottom line is, the worst thing that could go wrong is you let 5 million years go by and you don't believe it's an idea you have, or you don't try out for something. What if you're a high school kid and you try out for the same team every single year and you never make it? Okay, cool. You tried out. That means more than the person who sat at home and thought it would be cool to do it. It just does. It says more about you as a person, and it helps you figure out what's good for you. Just take that push. I want to start ignoring the voice that says it's not cool to do this. Don't try to do this. What if you make a mistake? Because it's holding me back, and I'm becoming more aware of that with age. So let's get some inspiration. Let's talk about different changes you can make. If you want to know what area of your life you should change, look to what you admire other people for doing. If you don't know what you admire other people for doing, or you haven't really admitted it to yourself, I talk about this in my jealousy video, but who are those people that you follow on social media, and when you see their life, you're like, God, I wish I was doing that right now, or that sounds so cool, that's so interesting, and you just get that little feeling, and you have to listen. My feelings are so quiet, and I'm not a jealous person, so I have to be so in tune to myself to say, that person's teaching, or I would like to do something like that. Because normally I'm just like, oh, good for them, cool. And I don't notice, but those feelings are not always negative, because it's not a negative energy if you're just yearning for something. And you never know until you see it and until you try. So let's talk about things you can try. So let's say you work in a team and you're always the note taker. It's kind of occurred to you before that you're always the one taking notes and everyone takes that for granted, but you've never voiced that you'd like to do anything else. So you felt that little weird feeling, now you noticed it, now make a move. Compose message, ask your boss to let you deliver the next presentation and have someone else take notes. So the worst thing that can happen in this situation is your boss says no. I think in most circumstances, they would at least say you can collaborate. I don't think they would just shoot you down unless you're really not qualified. But then you're gonna find out and you're gonna figure out how to get qualified. There's really nothing horrible about rejection. I feel like we need to wear a suit of armor and be like, rejection, slide off the surface, try again, try differently, learn from your mistakes. But in this situation, I feel like your boss would probably just appreciate getting some of the work off their plates, and it would be amazing experience and exposure for you. It would boost your confidence. You would realize you can do something you never tried, and why not? So let's go to another example. So you always hear people talk about yoga and you're just not a yogi, but how does a yogi become a yogi? They swallow their pride, they go online and they book a mat in a yoga class, preferably a beginner one if you've never done it, to learn the fundamentals. Alignment is important, but it doesn't matter if the room is full of novices or the room is full of people that have been doing hot yoga every day since the Bush administration. The point is that putting yourself in that environment is the first step toward realizing a new part of your life that could end up being something for you. Or you could realize you don't like it and then you'll stop thinking about it. Who cares if you don't know the difference between a camel pose and a half pigeon? The only person who cares, I guarantee you, is you. An experience like this, at the most, will show you a new love and a way to center your mind and body. And at the very least, you will have sweated, indulged in some stretching, and realize that that's something you no longer have to think about because you're not interested in it. Let's say you've been a meat eater for 30 years, but you always see vegan posts online or vegetarian posts online. Why do you have to feel like an imposter for checking one out? So I say, if you're curious, go online and reserve a table at a plant-based kitchen that looks good to you. You're not a poser for being curious, and you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You don't even have to explain yourself to your grandmother who force feeds you spaghetti and meatballs every time you see her. Or whatever the food is. I feel like everyone's grandma force feeds them something. So whatever that food is, you don't have to explain it to her. You just have to explore your own interests. Let's say you haven't left the country before and you always see traveling. Why don't you organize an adventure vacation? What are you waiting for? Do your research, draw up a cost-benefit analysis, and get on your way. There's no reason to keep talking about it year after year. Just put it on the calendar. I think another situation where people want something but feel like it's too late is maybe if they've been neglecting their physical health for a long time. Let's say an individual who has become pretty overweight and they feel like it's too late to go to a gym. If you're in this situation, I want you to reframe the "what am I doing here" with words of affirmation. You can easily replace "I don't belong here" with "I'm so strong for making this commitment. I'm so proud for investing in my health. This is the greatest self-care move I've taken in a long time. I'm brave," whatever you want to say. But if you're sitting there thinking about it, go online, sign up for a gym, have them start swiping your credit card every month, and that might be the thing that pushes you to go. Another thing you might feel like you can't do, but that might be holding you back, is just cutting off someone toxic who you've allowed to hang around for years. You know, life is too short, and if someone's face popped in your head when I said someone toxic, that's the person I'm talking about. And you wouldn't have envisioned them as soon as I said the word toxic unless you knew it in your gut. So you must at least know it in your gut, if not your mind yet. Time to break up, wish them the best, no hard feelings, spread your wings and fly. To get that motivation, let me think of another way to convince you. For my younger people out there, if you don't have children yet, the present might be the most flexibility and free time you will have again until you're maybe retired or ever. For those of us who plan to have children, I think children benefit enormously from routine and then of course take most of your energy. So I think that the time to make changes that are difficult to make is easier now than ever. Once we have children, of course we can still make some changes, but we'll just have so many more responsibilities. If the only thing holding us back right now is fear of the unknown, then that's just not enough not to get out there and move toward a reality that is truly fulfilling. I think the opportunity cost of not trying is almost always higher than the time and effort spent trying. Remember that even if our goals change or don't turn out precisely how we expected them to, we can take comfort knowing we trusted in whatever power we believe in, we learned, we experienced, and we moved forward in our lives, and that just doesn't sound like some cost to me. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I want you to push yourself to do whatever the thing is you were picturing the whole time I was talking. I want you to just go online and make a move, sign up, pay for something that's gonna make you feel like you have to follow through. Just do whatever it is to push yourself and get out of your comfort zone. So please let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, as I release a new video almost every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now.